Hello, you beautiful legends, and welcome to Blunt Force Healing Podcast, episode 388. We are 12 episodes away from the magical number of 400, and for that reason, I'm thinking about changing something significantly. By significantly, I still don't know what I mean, but it should be at least distinguishable from all the previous episodes and the format of the podcast. So I was thinking, because it's quite hard to always record the episode and then transfer it and upload it, and every time you need to kind of add all that metadata like tags, blah blah blah. It's too boring to to bother you, but just know that every time the episode is recorded, there's a lot of work in making sure that it goes online. Some of you that listen on Spotify, for example, or watch on Spotify, you probably noticed that last 2 episodes landed just yesterday. So it kind of felt like one episode missed its spot. And it did in Spotify, because for some reason Spotify did not allow me to upload the episode, and it was crashing when it was generating a preview. So I don't know what was the reason. I suspect that the cause was the fact that I stitched a minute of intro that I did during my cold water swim or plunge before the actual video, and for some reason, while Spotify was generating preview, it didn't like it, and I don't know exactly what, because it uploaded normally without any issues on YouTube. So the episode landed on YouTube on time, properly, on the day, while I tried different ways to upload the other the same episode on Spotify video. And I tried really different things. I even re-exported the video in a low resolution, because I said, listen, if I will just regenerate the video as a new single file in a lower resolution, at least I can test it faster and upload a smaller video and see if that crashes again. And guess what? It crashed again. So it wasn't the solution. And I tried the next day to do the same, because I thought maybe, Spotify had some issues, and certain accounts that were uploading to certain, storage areas within Amazon. I believe that Spotify is using Amazon Web Services as the backend. So sometimes there are issues with those cloud services, and I thought it might be the reason why my video is not being properly rendered in the end. But it was still strange, because it uploaded without issues and the audio was kind of available. Well, it showed as audio, but couldn't generate the preview. So my next step, but it was already the next day, was to actually just upload a single part without that intro. So the actual episode, the longer part, the second part that I recorded in the car while driving yesterday, I decided to just do that and see if Spotify really has troubles with rendering that stitched version or stitched episode. And it seems like it was the case, because the single part uploaded fine. So if you're watching on Spotify by any chance, and you watched not yesterday's video, but the video from the day before, and you haven't seen the intro at the seaside, then you can check on YouTube for the same day, which was 386, I believe. And YouTube version has this intro. Apologies for that discrepancy, but for some reason Spotify didn't like it, so I had to leave it out. Yesterday, I managed to do a single episode and record and upload it without issues. Obviously it wasn't stitched, so it was fine. It still bothers me because I did at least 2 or 3 episodes before where I was stitching videos the same way and there was no issues at all. So I don't know why this time Spotify didn't like it. Anyway, guys, as you can see, I'm in Murvak Forest at Murvak Beach. I decided this time to leave my wife to it and go on her own for a walk while I am checking the forest for some mushrooms. And I am targeting specific mushrooms because I was advised by a friend of mine on our mushroom foraging group to go here and check them out. And I was steering away from milkcaps for quite a while, mainly because there are some toxic species in North Hemisphere, especially in Europe. They are not deadly, but they can be very poisonous. Well, very uncomfortable in terms of the stomach upset. And can you see it? That's amazing. I'm not sure if you've seen it. You can rewind a bit and check this out. There was actually I think it was a bee or some form of hoverfly that was in front of my face, and I was able to capture it on the video. So yeah, you can rewind a bit and see. It was amazing. So as you can see, there are a couple of birches here. In general, it's mostly the pine trees, so it's often that you can find any slimy caps in here, but this time I'm looking for specific milkcap, and I found a couple of them. They don't look maybe super tasty or inviting, but I'm glad that I found a couple of them without maggots, because they are tasty not only for humans, but it seems like those flies like to put the eggs and cause those mushrooms and many others to be useless for us humans once the maggots start infesting them. And that's one of the downsides of foraging, because sometimes you find a very nice and beautiful mushroom and you're so happy because not only in size and by the looks it's great, it would taste perfectly fine, but when you start kind of cutting the stem and you see how much of infestation is there, like a lot of maggots, and even if there's just a little of maggots, it's pretty much you can cut healthy pieces off and get something out of it, but in general it usually renders the mushroom inedible. Not because it's inedible like the maggots, but the maggots are leaving a lot of, I would say, excrements that are not necessarily good for humans. And here actually it's something called turkey tail. If you don't know what turkey tail is, it's quite a interesting fungus, and I'll try to get you a better view. So let me just put it here. I'll tear one specimen, and I'll show you. So this is how it looks from the top. It has like a different colors, but on the underside it's whitish or creamish. It has pores which are not visible on the video, but this mushroom is known for centuries in different cultures to be a very good remedy for things like inflammation, some immune disorders or things like that. And it's very safe to collect once you get to know it. There are mushrooms that are similar, but once you get to know turkey tail and start collecting it once or twice, you'll get used to immediately knowing which one is the right one. And once you clean it up, because sometimes it has a lot of needles and whatever, this can be dried up, and when you dry it up, you can later on make basically a tea out of, or just steep it in the hot water, like the boiling water, like a tea, and you can get herbal remedy. The thing is that you probably would need to collect a fair amount of it first and dry it up so you have enough for a good period of time, because as with any natural remedies that actually work, they are not medicines like we do in conventional medicine. They are not chemical compounds that immediately work and hit our system, which has pros and cons. Obviously, pros are that it works fairly fast, but the cons are it works fairly fast, so sometimes it might cause, like many drugs, you can see the leaflets are extremely long and extensive, because any drug created artificially by the conventional medicine has the risk of causing a lot of different reactions from the body depending on the human being. So each and every individual obviously has a different body, different state of that body, and might react differently. So some people might get anaphylactic shocks to some not remedies, some drugs. Some people can get the nausea or whatever, very different reactions to certain medicaments, while natural herbs, they don't work immediately. They work over time, very softly and gradually. So you need to take them gradually over time and continuously. So regularity is the key. It's not like a drug that you take once or twice, or once per day, once per week, or once every second and third day. You need to basically have enough of it and get a habit of making a tea out of it and just drink it, let's say every evening or something like that. And that's when you get the benefits. I already made a couple of episodes about birch polypore. Turkey tail is another one, and I'll also do a bit of, if I'll have a chance, because I didn't have a chance to do that in Poland. I was hoping to get and find some chaga. Some of you probably know it. If you're into supplements, then you probably know that name. Chaga is a weird kind of parasite type of mushroom. I found another milkcap. that I might be able to use, but it feels like it might be infested. Yes, so I'll show you how infested they can be. If you're sensitive to those views, then I recommend not watching, but let me just show it to you how many maggots are there. You can probably see that maggot traveling in the stem, and everything else is just basically, you know, holes, and it's eaten down by the maggots. Yeah, I can show you more. So if you can see the moving thing, it's the maggot. So I know that this won't be of use to me, so I leave it here. But I found 2 or 3 that look fairly healthy, so I'll take them home, prep them today, and see how they taste like. There's another one, I think. Yes, there is. But this one is actually a slimy cap, so I might take this one too, if it's not infested. Oh, it's actually one of those nice. I still need to sync up and get used to English names, because I tend to use Polish and sometimes also the Latin names, but English common names are fairly different. I found a couple more of those milk caps. This one might be healthier, but not sure about that. Let me just take it off. You can see how it bleeds in orange. It's a very nice and distinct color. Oh yeah, there's a lot of maggots in there, and even a slug that was eating them, so I'll just leave it to it. Apologies for that distractions. So yeah, it's 17 minutes in. I think that's enough for today. Today is pretty normal. I had a couple of hours of work. Now we are at lunchtime. My wife is walking while I scavenge, forage for mushrooms and see if I can find something, and as you could see, I did. So let me get back into it, try to find more, and stay tuned for the next episode, which will be coming tomorrow. Have a great rest of the day, afternoon or evening, wherever you are, and see you tomorrow.